G'day ladies and gentlemen, Duckville here. Welcome to a StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm cast. We've got a Terran versus Protoss coming up for you here today. It is going to be on Overgrowth LE, one of the new maps on ladder. I'm happy to finally bring a new ladder map here to you today, so should be a whole bunch of fun. We'll introduce our players, have a quick little chat about the players, and then also talk about the map as well, because given that it is a newer one, it is I've still got a little bit to talk about on this one. So our red Terran player up here on the top right hand side of the map. He's been around for quite a while. He's sort of retired professionally, I guess you could say. It is none other than HTOMario, otherwise known as HFMario, currently playing for, I believe, No Dice Gaming. We did say that he's kind of professionally retired from playing, but he still does do quite a lot of streaming. He still plays a bit, and he's still definitely a force to be reckoned with. He's, of course, a Terran player who many will know as a very hardcore mech user. We'll use it against Protoss. We'll use it in all the other matchups as well, of course, just because it's all good in the hood with mech in PvT and TVZ, but particularly in TVP, it is a really interesting kind of style to be utilizing, just because there are so many ways that a Protoss can counter it. But what we're going to have a look at today is how HTOMario deals with his ways of going forth in the mech tech, I guess you could say, because there are different ways of doing it. This is one thing that I always do try and accentuate, I guess you could say, when we look at a mech player, is that there are different ways of going about it. There's not just a, let's get tanks and Thors, or let's just get Thors and Hellbats. There's so many different methods, and we'll talk about HTOMario's style very shortly. His opponent down at the bottom left-hand side as our blue Protoss play here from Team Evil Geniuses, a stalwart member of the scene for a very long time, and it is none other, I should say, than iNcontroL. And so iNcontroL, of course, has been around for the longest of times, one of the very veteran, I guess, players, and now he does a little bit of casting as well, does a fantastic job of it. I think it's a weird thing that he kind of doesn't get enough respect for his casting sometimes. Like, I do feel as though Jeff does a wonderful job, especially when it comes to providing some upbeat, entertaining kind of casting. It's always fun to listen to him, in my opinion at least. So we'll see how he goes here up against a mech master, you could say. This is on the North American server, I believe, up in the High Masters. Both of these players, both worthy of being GM level players, there's no doubt about that. But just with the new season, I think this is just before GM opened up, so neither of them up there just yet. But so iNcontroL, of course, has been around since the Brood War days. He's been playing for a very, very long time, and has now also been here in StarCraft 2 for quite a long time as well, and been, as we said, sort of casting a little bit more than, I guess, playing as such, but no doubt he has been giving it his all during his recent sort of time playing at StarCraft 2. But we'll see what he does. As I said, it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to deal with HTOMario's style of mech, which we'll go over in just a second. But Overgrowth LE, one of our new ladder maps here with the lovely Protoss tile set, is a map where the third is... It's kind of an interesting position here, because it's a little bit like a couple of other maps. I've just completely forgotten the name of them, but I can picture them in my head. If anyone's psychic and you know what I'm talking about, please tell me what the name of the map I'm talking about is. But it's kind of a decent distance to get to the third base, but it's not exactly too far. It's not too bad. It's not, Tal'Darim Alta kind of distance with rocks blocking it or something like that. iNcontroL looking for the force field block on the Reaper, but doesn't get it, unfortunately for him. With the quickness, says Mr. Mario. But as we can see, the third down here does lead into a gold base further up towards the, closer to the center of the map. There are two Xel'Naga watchtowers as well. They just cover the middle sections. However, you do need to control both if you want to control the various attack paths. Like there's, if Mario was to come across the map, he's got those two directions. You can also come down this way as well. I do think that this map could be one where you could probably get away with one Xel'Naga watchtower in the middle, and it'd be a little bit nicer perhaps. I know if we go back to the days of Lost Temple, aka Shattered Temple, where the two towers kind of covered all the attack paths. Like if you have both of these, as we can see on the minimap, you basically cover everything that's happening through the middle section of the map, which sometimes can make it a little bit, I guess, precarious to try and push against your opponent without them knowing. You kind of have to do drops, you have to sneak around some other way or something like that. So I don't know. That if there was one change I was going to make about this map, it definitely would be to make it just the one tower in the middle, perhaps, and see how that works out. But let's have a look at what Mario is up to. He's got the third CC is being built up right now. We got a nice little bunker at the front, a couple of marines, and some mines are going to be heading across the map here. So he's going to do what's a very normal kind of drop here. This isn't indicative of mech or of bio per se. This is just a drop that will quite often normally come out against the Protoss. A couple of mines to try and get in there before the observers come out, and a couple of marines to add in some extra damage. So we'll have to see if iNcontroL is prepared for this. He is having a little skirmish with a Reaper in the middle of the map. Looks like he will win that one, given that Stalkers do quite well against Reapers. In fact, he will find a Reaper and kill it off. So he's now got full map vision through the middle section here, and like I was talking about, you know, the fact that you do control the center, and it looks as if iNcontroL has forgotten about the back door here. Widowmine's getting in. What kind of hits do they get? A decent one, and then or actually, sorry, both of those were quite average, really. Just one kill on this Widowmine and the 3 over here on this one. So it wasn't exactly the best of Widowmine hits, but it's not really a guaranteed sort of mass kill sort of situation. What you want to do is get in here, disrupt the Protoss, stop him from mining for a little bit, so that you can get started with your, make sure that your natural base is secure. And it also gives you a small glimpse of what's going on inside the Protoss base. We got to see that, you know, there's obviously a robo here. There's no real other tech just as of yet. I don't think Mario got to see the robo down. Oh, sorry, he did. He did get to see the robo bay down the bottom. So he does know that this is just going to be a simple Colossus play here from iNcontroL. We're going to add a 4th gate. We do have +1 to armor, just about done. So everything's very standard for our Protoss player here. There's nothing too crazy going on or anything like that. He's not going for it. There's no real signs of a straight up 2-base push right here. But, you know, it's certainly possible. He's got, I guess it's kind of like having a triple threat kind of position in basketball. For those of you who play a little bit of the hoops, you'll know what I mean. When you've got a position where you could go one way, you could go another way, or you could go a third way. So it's all good for Mr. iNcontroL at the moment. For our Terran player, Mario, what is he up to now? He's got 3 factories inside the main base. There is a second racks building up. You may be wondering, wow, is he doing a weird biomix? Probably not. This is just some mech players, once they see a robo and they start to see immortals coming out, they will get the second racks up and then start the Ghost Academy shortly after. In fact, there it is. So what this allows you to do, of course, is get some Ghosts out, you have some EMPs available, and then you're able to deal with things like immortals. Because, you know, we were saying earlier on, there's so many various ways of dealing with mech, and obviously one of the big ones is to get some immortals out. So you can get the immortals, they can provide you with this massive firepower. However, they are quite reliant on their shields. If these shields are gone, these guys, they're still quite strong. Let's not doubt that, but they still die pretty quickly. So got to be careful about that kind of thing. So I'm sure that Mario is getting prepared with some ghosts coming out very soon. He's also got some Hellbats added in. +1 to weapons is on the way. A little bit slower than what I would normally expect to see when it comes to a mech play, but he's making sure that things are all safe and sound here at the third base. Will he be able to make it across? Some nice force fields from iNcontroL to keep those tanks out of the battle, but it looks as if he will be forced back. I don't know about this decision to move back there. I kind of feel like he had position there to take down a couple of the tanks. He used the Immortals to focus down the tanks. I'm pretty sure it'd be 2 volleys each from these Immortals, and then the tanks would be dead, but decided to back off. He's going to play safe rather than sorry, and just make sure that his army is all A-OK. He's going to back off for the moment. A 3rd Immortal joins the pack. We've also got a Blink Tech just about done. +2 to armor is also being researched right now. So iNcontroL, one thing that we do like to see when we are playing as a Protoss against mech is you do want to be either aggressive but mobile, aka Stalkers, or you want to be pushing up the tech path as quickly as you can, grabbing some expansions very quickly, because if you take tech very quickly and you take expansions quickly, generally a mech Terran is not necessarily going to be able to punish you as much. They're much slower on their feet. Hellbats are obviously ridiculously slow. Tanks have to siege and unsiege. Ghosts aren't the fastest of units on the ground. And then, of course, when you add in other things such as Widowmines, such as Thors, and those kinds of extra tech units, it's it's not exactly easy to rush around and punish someone who quickly takes their fourth base, or who is quickly investing in a second forge to get their tech up a lot quicker. So their upgrades in particular are a really big factor. But we can see that iNcontroL's just playing it, as we said before, relatively safe and sound, not necessarily going crazy or taking any massive risks. So we've just saturated the third base here. We'll probably get that gas started, and then he may look towards a Stargate tech, as it is a very, very handy thing to have. Now, a lot of you will be thinking, are you crazy when I say this? But carriers are actually one of the best ways to deal with mech, because if you go down the Tempest path, you have Ravens. Ravens can point to fence drone, Tempest gets smashed apart by the EMP as well, and then they can just get destroyed by whether it be Cloak Ghosts, sounds kind of weird again, but Cloak Ghosts, or some Vikings off to the side can deal with Tempests easily if you're prepared. Of course, there's always a disclaimer when it comes to mech. You do have to be prepared, in position, and all these kinds of things. Otherwise, it doesn't matter what kind of tech your opponent has, they will smash you down. So, just looking at the composition we've got for Mario here, quite a few tanks are in the mix. We've got our Hellbats with their blue flame. We've also got some Ghosts ready to go, some Ravens providing protection, and the point defense drone as well. Looks as if Mario may want to head out with a drop here. He is actually going to head out there and see what damage he can get done. He's going to try and use that out as a little bit of a cover for taking his gold base, but unfortunately iNcontroL was already prepared for that. Had a Zealot here covering the gold base, and thus we're not going to see this base go undetected for now. So iNcontroL, I'm still just questioning some of the decisions here. At this stage, you do want to start dropping down the Stalker count. Stalkers are almost a complete waste when it comes to mech, unless you're being aggressive with them. If we saw iNcontroL blinking up into the main, taking down some of the tech, or at least cutting down some of the production, then that's all good. I'm okay with the Stalkers, but at this stage, once the tank count starts to increase, once you have the Ghosts out on the field, the Stalkers aren't exactly the best of units to have out there. What you want to be looking for at this stage is starting to move up to Void Rays. You obviously do have a few Immortals in the mix, and you want to have Archons, and then of course, like we said before, starting to head towards Stargate, and in particular the carrier tech, because they will be able to win you the game against mech. It's just, it's not a guaranteed win, but it is I feel it's a lot easier to win with carriers against mech than it is with Tempest or anything like that. So, still waiting on those kinds of signs here from iNcontroL. He's continually pumping out the Immortals, which is always good. Just a few volleys from these Immortals will smash through quite a lot of this mech force that Mario has, but it will be dependent on if the EMPs are able to blanket those Immortals and start to tear them down. But looks as if air weapons has been started up. A couple of Stargates on the way. Good to see there from iNcontroL. In fact, they're over there, I should say. And HTOMario still continues on with some of these drops. He's been doing a decent job of just getting around the map. Unfortunately, his the actual damage that he has been doing has not really been that helpful. But now we can see trying to drop on those Templar there, gets a feedback off on the Medivac. It looks like a few warp bins will come through. Zealots should be able to handle these Hellbats, considering their upgrades. They're on +3 to armor, which is always quite nice and sexy for those Zealots, but the Hellbats do a little bit of damage. Cut off a few of the workers there. Another drop inside the third base as well. Good targeting here from Mario. Normally, these guys would be trying to jump on the cannon there, but he's sort of clicked around on some of the probes and does get a few more of those down. 35 in total. Not bad at all, and this could start to get quite interesting, because when we look at the income here, just having a look at what Mario's got, 81 workers. He is smashing the economy at this stage. 2,000 minerals coming in and around about 900 gas. He's also maxed out, so he's going to have a very, very powerful army. We did mention that before the upgrades were a little bit slower than what you would normally see, but he's catching up now, getting +1 on the vehicle and ship armor. We've got +3 on the weapons now on the way, and you know, as we said before, as long as his positioning is correct, getting in place, whether it be sitting across here and then firing off a couple of EMPs before iNcontroL walks into range, is it's going to be really important here. And now we are going to start to push through the middle of the map. We do need to see those Ghosts get out in front there to make sure they are able to get those EMPs off. As we can see, a couple of well-placed EMPs, and all this, in particular this section here, is going to be completely useless. So iNcontroL now starting to be aware that there is a big push coming up towards his attempted gold base. He needs to get into position here before the tanks siege up and before those EMPs go down. Down they go, a complete blanket across the battlefield there by HTOMario. A couple of the Templar at the back still do have energy, but it looks as if he is just completely unawares that those guys are there. The mothership does throw down a couple of time warps. We'll see an Archon come in from the back, but it looks like that guy is not going to get too much done. iNcontroL brought down to 107 supply, losing quite a lot of his power core of units there. The Immortals have been annihilated. We can see that there are some Tempests on the production tab right now, but is it going to be enough? There are all of these ghosts out. These ghosts are going to add so much power here. 15 ghosts are out on the field right now. And with the tanks sieging up in position, Raven's providing some detection support against DTs and also the PDD support against Stalkers and things like that. This is a really big push that has done an excellent job here for HTOMario. So he's put himself in quite a fantastic position. However, the Tempests are now going to come in, and we'll see how much damage these guys can get done. Because despite the losses that iNcontroL has suffered, if he can perhaps save this third base. Yeah, okay, never mind, that's not going to happen. We've already got a point defense thrown out here for Mario. He does have to deal with a huge group of Dark Templar that have walked their way into his base. We're going to clean up the command center at the main and also the third as well. That could be quite dangerous later on, especially if those Ravens die down. We do see a mule being dropped to repair that Raven. And iNcontroL now starting to push forwards. He doesn't have, like... He doesn't have the best anti-Tempest force. Like, really, we've only got Ghost to deal with these, but there's only 5 of them. They're not going to clean up everything before Mario has just smashed his way through this particular set of buildings here. But one thing actually that I do want to allude to is that Mario has placed down a whole bunch of factories here and is building up a huge count of Widow Mines right now, 4 at a time. Should be even more than that very soon, but he has lost a little bit of his economy. What are these DTs doing? They need to get back to work, but Mario has now started to push his way through. Hellbats and tanks now making their way into the main base of the Protoss. iNcontroL off to the side is trying to do what he can to deal with this impending mechanical monster that is on its way inside his base, but it's just quite difficult when they're just putting out so much damage. They've cleaned up the Templar Archives, they've cleaned up a couple of the gateways as well. They may be able to get, this Cybercore. That'd be quite intriguing. Looks like no is the answer, but the Ghosts are now moving forwards. The Ghost, there is an Observer that's just moved into range just in time. So it looks as if the Ghost will be cut down by the Tempest. One of these guys moving away. Good micro there from iNcontroL to keep that one alive. He's moved this one out as well, but some more Tempests are coming from the right-hand side as well. But iNcontroL, he is currently just losing all of his economy right now, down to 36 workers. That's going to drop even further as these probes trying to retreat. And it looks as if, well, he's done his own fair whack of damage. We've cut down quite a lot of what was inside the main base of HTOMario, and also the natural base has been cleared out effectively as well. But now we have to deal with a huge amount. Where are those Widow Mines? I swear we had more of them somewhere. Okay, they're over here. We've got 8 Widow Mines out already. Another 8 are building as we speak. And this becomes a really interesting part of the way HTOMario plays. A lot of the time at this kind of stage of the game where you have to deal with a mass Tempest army, a lot of Terran players have been saying, oh my god, get me 6 starports and get me a whole bunch of Vikings because I need to deal with these guys as quickly as I can. But at this stage, Tempests actually get a little bit difficult to deal with even with Vikings unless you have ridiculously overwhelming numbers. So this is one thing which HTOMario does, which is quite unique in a way and quite interesting. And we'll see how he's going to go about this in just a second. I think he's just building up like that sexy count of Widow Mines that allows you to jump on top of Tempest. But they are also moving into a position where they're perhaps getting right underneath those Widow Mines, just waiting for HTOMario to move into position here. iNcontroL has saved the main base. We've kept the Stargates alive, so they're going to be there and ready to rumble. But these Tempests now starting to push forward. So Dark Templar still at the natural base are carving up the rest of the buildings here that HTOMario has. There are still some Hellbats wandering around. I'm not exactly sure what the plan is here with these guys, but here they come. The March of the Widow Mines. He's starting to move forwards. Will he be able to get some good shots off? We can see that they are just charging underneath, trying to get into position to burrow. Unfortunately, does not have drilling claws, so he's not able to fully get in there in time, but he's doing his best. Imagine this. This is like ants chasing after an elephant, trying to kill the elephant. It's crazy what's going on in here. But they do come through. They will burrow and they will release an... oh my god. A ridiculous volley of those... what are they called? The Sentinel missiles, that's the name of it. Will just annihilate the probe line there. And now, of course, the Tempests have a decision. What do we do right now? Am I going to try and deal with this? Because there's still huge counts of Widowmines here. I can't really deal with the tanks with anything else. And so he's forced to just sort of run away for the moment at the moment. And it looks as if iNcontroL is in a very, very tough position right now. Planetary Fortress has been set up over at this right-hand side base. Turrets are there as well, just in case the Tempests get a little bit too close for comfort. Factories are trying to get out some more Widowmines. Just spamming out the Widowmines as best as he can, but it looks as if iNcontroL is going to slowly cut down some of those factories, but the Widowmines now moving into position. What is iNcontroL going to do? Right now he needs to get out of there because the Widowmines are going to destroy everything here. Keep in mind these guys do that bonus damage against shields, so this is such a really crazy and unique way to deal with the Tempests here. It looks as if he's going to burrow some and get a couple of shots off. Wonderful hits there on some of those Widowmines, getting some great hits on the Tempest, but it looks as if the Tempests have nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Mario is now starting to chase him down. Just look at this from all sides. He's coming in. He wants those Tempests. He wants to kill them as quickly as he can. Will he get a shot off here? It looks like two get their shots off. A couple of Tempests are very low, but I think that will be it here for Mr. EG iNcontroL. A very, very crazy yet awesome follow-up from HTOMario here. After really committing to this push through the bottom side of the map here, he pushed down and came into the natural, cleared down a lot of the main as well, but the Tempests were able to hold firm for a short time, but not until these Widowmines came out to play, and I think that there you go, iNcontrol's gonna tap out because there's no way out of this one. No minerals, no mining or anything like that going on for the EG Protoss, so he has to tap out. Wonderful work from HTOMario there. Really, really fun to see different ways of playing mech. It's such an interesting style if you can practice and if you're persistent and like you try hard at figuring out how to work it properly, because it can certainly be done. It's just very tough. Hope you all enjoyed the match. I'll catch you all next time. Here. As you can see, 47 damage to bio units and then the 34 damage against other standard targets. His storms have also been wonderful, just spreading them out across the battlefield, doing really, really nicely there. And for minigun, he's been sticking with a much more